This is Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review, and I'm taking a look at your MLB overnight lines for the games on Wednesday, June 29th. Let's get right to it and start with the Texas Rangers taking on the New York Yankees as their series continues in the Bronx on Wednesday. And the first thing that stuck out to me looking at this game is the price tag that you see with the New York Yankees laying very close to minus 200 in that range. And there's one reason and one reason only they're laying that kind of astronomical price, and it's because of the starting pitching matchup. Odds makers obviously view Masahiro Tanaka as having a massive edge on the mound here over Nick Martinez of the Texas Rangers. Now, it's hard to dispute that. Tanaka does have the better stuff. He is the better pitcher overall. But to me, this is an overlay with the New York Yankees, and too much is being made of the starting pitching matchup. If you're laying this price with the New York Yankees in this game because you think there's a starting pitching edge, it's a bad bet to me, win or lose, because that's already being factored into this line. You're not getting any kind of betting edge in the number based on the fact you think Masahiro Tanaka is better than Nick Martinez. That's already clearly accounted for here in this price with the New York Yankees laying the kind of number they are here in this game. But you take out the starting pitching. Whose lineup would you rather have right now? I'd rather have the Rangers. Whose defense would you rather have right now? I'd rather have the Rangers and their fourth-ranked defense, according to Fangraphs, as opposed to the 24th-ranked Yankee defense. That's for sure. Bullpen. Okay, Yankees have a little bit of an edge with their bullpen. Texas has had some difficulties getting outs in the latter stages at times this season. I get that. But that edge is shrinking with the Yankees bullpen by the day. It has not been that shutdown dominant Yankee bullpen in the last week or so. We've seen Chapman give up some base runners and runs. Same with Miller. Same with Betances. I mean, they're still, for the most part, fairly reliable, but we've even seen some cracks in the armor with them. So even that Yankee bullpen edge that you might find with them over Texas here, it's not quite as strong or big as maybe it was earlier in the season. Now, let's get into the starting pitching matchup. Tanaka's obviously had a pretty solid season for the most part, but his worst numbers have been here at Yankee Stadium. He's actually been better on the road this season. You get him here at Yankee Stadium, he's actually allowed 20 runs over his last 31 innings pitched here in the Bronx, a 4.59 ERA for Tanaka in 8 home starts this season. And Texas, their lone previous time facing Tanaka last season, 4 runs on 9 hits and 6 innings. I'd say they did a pretty decent job against him. And it's worth noting, Yankees lost that game 5-2. So I think Texas, can actually have some pretty good approaches at the plate against Tanaka. And it's a lineup that's been hitting for most of the season, particularly as of late, the last couple weeks during this incredible run they've been on. And on the flip side, Nick Martinez, yeah, he's a league average marginal pitcher. I don't deny that, but 7 runs allowed in 10 innings against Boston and St. Louis in his 2 starts since joining this Rangers rotation, which is currently depleted with a ton of starting pitching injuries. Yu Darvish on the DL, Derek Holland on the DL, Colby Lewis on the DL. Going down the list, it's just a mash unit right now. That's why Nick Martinez is pitching here in the first place. But despite mediocre numbers in his career, Nick Martinez shut down the Yankees right here at Yankee Stadium. Last season, he allowed just 2 runs on 5 hits and 7 innings. Texas won that game 15-4. I mean, 2 runs in 7 innings for Nick Martinez when he pitched here last year against the Yankees here at Yankee Stadium. So, to me, this is not any sort of edge with the Yankees. And to me, the total sum of the parts, starting pitching, bullpen, lineup, defense, they don't add up to the Yankees being this price to me. Not at all. And I have no problems taking a look at Texas. Plus 180 you can get with them at Heritage as of this recording as a huge, massive, and very attractive underdog, in my opinion. They're the better of these two teams. I just don't think they should be priced this way. Win or lose, I think Texas is value. At plus 180 on Wednesday in the Bronx. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox on Wednesday, June 29. Minnesota overstreak, we've talked about it, although their last 2 games of the weekend series against those aforementioned Yankees did stay under the total. It's still a team on a 17-3-1 overstreak in their last 21 games, and I think that's a streak that could make it 18 overs during that stretch here after this game is all said and done. Ricky Nolasco on the mound for Minnesota. He's been roughed up quite a few times this season, 4.95 ERA. U.S. Cellular Field has really been a horror show. It's been a house of horrors for Ricky Nolasco in the past. He's allowed 12 runs on 19 hits in just 11 innings over his last two starts in this ballpark. Both of those games flew up and over the total. And I think the White Sox lineup, which has come to life over the last week or so, they've scored 31 runs in their last 5 games combined. I think they can have some pretty good success at the plate here against Nolasco, who struggled in this ballpark. And James Shields, on the other hand, guys, we all know what he's done so far. He's not trustworthy at all. Now, we all got taken aback a little bit. Everyone on the James Shields fade train last time out against the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. And yeah, he was marginally better. But if anyone watched that start, where he allowed 3 runs on 5 hits in 5 innings, he had to dance his way out of trouble. It was a tightrope walk act throughout the game. He had to get just barely, crawl his way out of trouble in most innings. His control was still very poor. He had 4 walks compared to 3 strikeouts in that start at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. I don't trust him. I don't think he's back on track. Yeah, he was a little bit, and I mean a little bit better last time against Boston, but I still don't think he's back on track. 2 starts here at the Cell in Chicago since he's joined this White Sox team have been an unmitigated disaster for James Shields. 14 runs on 17 hits and 7 innings against Detroit and Washington in those 2 previous starts here. And I don't think he's going to have a clean outing here whatsoever against Minnesota, a team that's actually perked up a little bit offensively themselves as well. Both bullpens a little bit suspect in the latter stages. So I think we can see runs in bunches here in this game between the Twins and White Sox. The over is 5-0 in Shields' last 5 starts, and it's 8-1-1. The over in Ricky Nolasco's last 10 starts. So you've got 2 starting pitchers trending over the total as well. I think we'll see runs in bunches here. 9.5 is the total for this game, and I'll look over between the Twins and the White Sox here on Wednesday, June 29. And a couple other games in brief for the Wednesday card. Price against Moore, Boston, Tampa. Price got absolutely hammered by Texas, but you want to take that with a grain of salt. Doesn't mean he's going to struggle again here against a much weaker lineup. It's worth noting David Price has just had a nightmare time of it in his career against Texas. I don't know what it is. If it's that ballpark in Arlington, I don't know if it's looking at the Rangers logo. Something freaks him out, weirds him out. I don't know what it is, but Price just cannot pitch well against Texas. Can't do it. He just can't. It's just impossible for David Price to throw a good start out there against Texas. So I think you have to take that last outing with a grain of salt. We'll see if he can bounce back there, but not much value there on Boston minus 165. Just even though Tampa Bay's been struggling, they did finally beat Boston the first game of this series, but interesting to see if David Price can bounce back there. Toronto and Colorado. Aaron Sanchez and Tyler Anderson, the 2 pitchers in that game. I don't know how you bet any game under at Coors Field right now. If you look at what Colorado's done at home since this homestand of theirs began, it started against Arizona and it's continued here in this Toronto series. You see the run totals: 13 runs, 19 runs, 17, 16, 14 runs in the first game of this series against Toronto. And maybe arguably the 2 best pitchers on either starting rotation were in that first game of this Blue Jays-Rockies series here at Coors Field on Monday. John Gray for Colorado, Marco Estrada for Toronto. Yeah, and that game still ended up flying over the total with 14 runs combined between the 2 teams. Just impossible right now to make a case for an under at Coors Field, even though you're getting these 11, 12, 12.5 totals on a regular basis. I mean, you've got a combination of 90-degree heat in Denver, where the ball just steams out of the ballpark, flies out of there when it's that hot, and suspect pitching. You get those 2 elements combined for these games in Denver, and you're asking for trouble, and you're asking to have your head pounded against the wall trying to bet an under here at Coors Field. So I want no interest in an under, even though I like Aaron Sanchez, and even though I think Tyler Anderson's got potential to be somewhat of a decent pitcher. I'm not going under at Coors Field right now. No way, no how. So over or nothing for me there from a totals perspective. The ball's just flying. It's going to be 90 degrees again, a day game Wednesday at Coors Field. No interest in the under there between the Jays and Rockies. Baltimore, San Diego. It's another game I'd leaned the over with, but Gallardo's been a weird guy to figure out since returning to the Orioles rotation. Friedrich, actually has pitched better here at Petco Park than he has on the road, and the Orioles not quite as strong against lefties, so may still bet that game over, but it's more of a lean than an actual strong opinion for me as of this point. Other than that, that's about it for me taking a look at the games that interest me, the ones that pique my interest from a betting perspective. That's your look at MLB overnight lines for the games on Wednesday, June 29th. I'm your host, Ian Cameron, for Sportsbook Review. As always, check out sportsbookreview.com every day for the latest and quality sports betting information. And until next time, enjoy the games and good luck.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.